Did the AAC just kill Conference USA? Hi, I'm Trevor, and this is the Jersey Score, the channel where we rate and debate team uniforms and logos, but recently been doing a series on college conference realignment. And some news dropped this week that the AAC would be accepting applications from 6 members of Conference USA, leaving that conference rather decimated. So let's jump into it. On Monday night, I was winding down, getting ready for bed, when I got the notification about the news, about the American accepting 6 members from Conference USA. We're talking UTSA, Rice, North Texas, UAB, FAU, and Charlotte. And I went to record a quick video so I could get up a reaction video on Tuesday morning, but it wasn't very coherent, less so than normal, and I just haven't had time. Things have been rather hectic, so I'm just now getting to this video, but it's good because now we've had some follow-up news on Conference USA. Anyway, on another video that we did on options for the AAC, we talked about maybe 3 possible top options being a UAB, one because that was already reported, and then a couple others in UTSA and FAU to try to reestablish their hold in Texas and Florida. But a couple of the others were a little bit of a surprise. Rice does make sense. It's a small school, but definitely very well off financially, and I think they're decent in baseball, so there's that. North Texas was surprising to me, especially because they're already in Dallas with SMU, although that could be trying to hedge their bets in case they ever leave, and we'll get into that later. The other ones in UAB, I mentioned because it was reported, I suppose makes sense. I think there's other teams that I would have gone after first, but and then Charlotte, definitely in a big market, and if nothing else, you gotta love their new updated logo, and even their jerseys are clean. So when I saw this list of schools, I guess I wasn't really that surprised because it wasn't like the American had tons of options. The pecking order has always been kind of the AAC, Conference USA, and Sun Belt, and so it kind of seemed like that would be the route. But I don't feel like these conferences, I don't feel like these schools really move the needle for the conference. In fact, it's definitely a step backwards. I don't think they probably will continue to claim that they're a Power 6 program or a conference, but I just don't see it anymore. There's no replacing the schools that they lost, much like the Big 12. There's no way they could ever replace Texas and OU, but everyone, and the general consensus is that the 4 schools that they added really helped them solidify their place as their conference, and really were good, solid moves. And when I look at this, I just don't see it. I don't think it's at the same level. Again, the American said that they were looking to get into big markets that they could develop programs in, and they've done that, and so we'll see how they're able to develop them. One thing that we discussed in the previous video is if they add Rice and FAU, that them along with Temple would give them 3 programs with the mascot of Owl.
Nice set of Hooters you got there.
I beg your pardon?
The Owls are beautiful.
So let's look at the other side of this in Conference USA and what their situation is going forward. So losing these 6 members will leave the conference rather depleted and spread out geographically. Look at UTEP down to FIU, and traditionally, as I mentioned, the pecking order always felt like it was the AAC, Conference USA, then the Sun Belt. But the Sun Belt has, even after losing many teams to Conference USA, has been able to cobble together a pretty fun little conference with ranked teams that have done really well, that I don't see any of them wanting to go to Conference USA. The payout is about the same. If anything, I think that they will try to take any teams that they want from Conference USA. And that's exactly what the Sun Belt is trying to do. They are trying to get ODU, Marshall, Southern Miss, and then also add the FCS program, James Madison. What Conference USA is doing to try to counter that is add Liberty, who's an FBS independent, and also James Madison, to try to entice ODU and Marshall to stay in the conference. So it sounds like Southern Miss would leave either way. So it'll be very interesting to see what those teams do. Again, with the payout the same, it may not make sense to pay those exit fees, and so maybe that is going to be enough to entice them to stay. It'll be very interesting to see what Conference USA will do if they do lose these three schools and aren't able to entice James Madison to join them. I'm not sure what future they have because, as I mentioned, the conference is really spread out geographically. It'll be small, and if they can't entice other schools to join them, I don't really know how viable the conference is long term. On the other hand, most of these schools may not have other options in the FBS, and so maybe independence, but it's a tough spot. So what do you think is going to happen with Conference USA? Will ODU and Marshall decide to stay, or will they jump ship? And if they do leave, is their future viable? What's going to happen with the other schools? Also, let me know what you think of the Americans' additions and how that leaves their conference going forward. And also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. You know the drill, and we'll see you next time.